Hi guys, I'm Jim and this is Jim's Fix-It Shop, and we're going to put on some more pieces on my snapper. And one of them is going to be the steering wheel. Now if you watched all of these videos in this whole series, I show you how to get it off with the help of a board. I use a piece of 2x6 with an angle cut on it to match the angle of your steering shaft. You have to support this while you're trying to drive that pin either in or out to keep this from flexing on every time you hit it. Otherwise the pin's not going to go anywhere. Now what we want to do first is get this thing lined up right. I want the wheel on with the, as you can tell, these things are made, they're offset. You have, when this is on the machine, you have more room from here where it mounts to here when you're sitting on the machine, or you can put it on this way and it will be closer to you. I usually put mine on this way so it gives me more room because I have such long legs. So we want to make sure we get this steering shaft with the, I guess the paddle, whatever you want to call the end of it, where the tie rods go into. You want them to be down. Otherwise, if you put this on wrong, it's not going to be oriented in the way you want it to be. Now, we want to use some of this stuff. I'm living dangerously here because I don't have any gloves on. But I want to put some of this anti-seize inside of the steering wheel because this is a steel shaft and they have an aluminum insert in these wheels, and they will corrode together. So you want to make sure you lather that up really good. I'm not going to put any on the shaft itself because I don't want it smeared all over this rubber covering they have around the steering shaft. Probably get it all over me anyway. We're going to start this in here. We're just going to try using a plastic mallet. See if that works. Getting this started is probably going to be fun. Okay, I want this on here like this, so we're going to turn the shaft and the wheel will go on this way. Now, get this under here to support that. The hard part is getting it lined up with the hole in the shaft because you can't really see where that is. I think I've got it lined up in there. That looks a little better. Now we'll put this board under here. Well, I can't get it under there with the punch in my way. And I think I'm going to have to get a steel hammer. Okay, I think I'm going to try a brass hammer instead of a steel one. I don't think I need to punch anymore. Now we'll get our board under here to help support that. go through a little farther to get it centered. And that should do it. Better put the cap on this stuff. This stuff is really dangerous. And we can get the tie rods back on. And we'll just slip the cotter keys in for now. There is a washer that goes on first to take out any extra length on the tie rod. I like to keep them tight, so I put a washer on there. Now we can tip this thing back down and get that mower deck on, the other safety switch, and the rest of the wiring. There. Now, I'm going to move you so you can see a little better. We'll drag this over here a little bit. And see if we can put the camera down here. Now, we want to take this cover off. These come off so much nicer since they put a slot in them. And let's see, we want to take that pin off. This has what they call a C-clip on it. And we'll take the pin or rod, whatever you want to call it, off, and we can slide this under here. Getting it under here, I think, is the hardest part. Trying to get everything lined up. Now, we'll see if we can get that pin in place. Now on this particular deck, the arms on the deck go on the outside of the brackets on the machine. Trying to see this and stay out of your way is not working too good. There, we got that in place. We'll put this little C-clip back on here. Like that. Then we can move to the back of the machine. I need a couple of, I believe, 9/16 socket and wrench. to get the idler pulley off. Now some decks, this one does too, maybe I'll show you it in a minute. It has extra holes in the back of the deck. They stamp these decks out for all the different machines. They don't make different decks for the different machines. And this deck has 3 extra holes stamped in it. And I had a couple of viewers ask me, what are these holes for and should I plug them? Well, if you want to, yes, go ahead and plug them. I would put in a carriage bolt from the bottom, so it'll be, you don't have a bolt hanging down, because if you do, it's probably going to collect debris on the parts sticking down, and that you don't really want. I'll hang these chains up in here. And then we can get to the wires. And again, for the idler pulley on the belt, that is a 9/16 nut and bolt. Now we can lift this up a little bit and get it off the floor. Now this particular deck, it's on the newer machines, they have springs that assist you when you're trying to lift the deck up. Let me get you a little closer here. Now this is the wire for the switch on the deck. And I have to grab a elastic tie. I've got a box of them here. You want a pretty good sized one. I don't know if they have a size on them. Just as far as length, this is an 8-inch. We'll be cutting most of it off. A pair of cutters. Now when the wire comes up through the hole in the bottom of this compartment where all the rest of the wires are, they don't want it just pulling back out. So what they do is they slip it up through the hole, they kink it over like this, and then they put an elastic tie around it to hold it, and then it can't pull out of the hole and come unplugged. Because if this comes unplugged on you, your machine won't start. So we'll try to get this thing up high enough so you can see me wrap that. We'll set the brake so I can shift it and get the shifter out of the way. That also puts the machine in neutral so you can, well, you can't really see this at all. I don't know if I can move the camera, maybe elevate it a little. But I've got it up through the hole in the bottom. You still can't really see it. We're going to try and get this elastic tie around there. And just cut the end off. Now there's no way that can come back out. And we hook up these wires. Now, as I said before, I labeled mine, so it makes it a lot easier to get everything hooked back up. And they just plug together. if we can find the other wire. It's in here somewheres. Here we go. There. Now, the safety switch for the mower deck. So, if you don't do this in the right sequence, once you start mowing, you can't put your machine in reverse with the deck running. So we're going to put this in that hole. Let me move the camera, maybe you can see a little better. It's got a rubber boot on it that basically just keeps water from going down inside of here. Then you have to unscrew the nut all the way. It won't come off of the cable. You put the cable through this slot and stick the threaded part through and put the nut back on. And I didn't move both nuts. So I shouldn't have my adjustment off. And you tighten that up with a 1/2-inch wrench. Then the spring hooks into this locking mechanism right here on the end. You push your little rubber boot back up. Now, once you start mowing and you push down your pedal, let me get over here so I can push this pedal down. This is the pedal that I'm working on. You can kind of see it. This is what holds the mower deck engaged. Now we'll go back over here. And you can see this spring moving. And it's also blocking. I don't know if you can see that bracket. You can barely see that bracket in there moving. But what this does is when you kick your mower deck on, you push your pedal down to hold it engaged, you can't shift into reverse because this safety lever pops up. So what you have to do is when you kick your mower deck on, and this is really awkward, you have to use your left hand to kick on the deck. And before you step on this pedal, you have to push down on this little silver tab right here. Then when you step on the pedal, that tab blocks that reverse safety switch so you can put it in reverse and mow going backwards. Why they came up with that? Apparently somebody got hurt or they wouldn't have went to the work and expense to put this mechanism on here. That's all there is to it. But every time you let your pedal out and disengage your deck, you have to re-push this down when you step, before you step on them pedals. Then you can shift in reverse. When you let go of the pedal, you'll see that pop up. That was somebody else's great idea. But, like I said, if somebody wouldn't have got injured, they wouldn't have put that on. Now the last safety switch we got to hook up is the seat. Take these nuts off. I had to pick up new handles for this seat because one of them stripped out and I had to cut it off to get the seat off. Kind of hard to let you see what I'm doing. I'm just plugging this on And there's a finger on there that catches over a lock, so it won't come back off. And these are adjustable seats. Now I got one other wire I got to hook up that I didn't hook up until last, so I didn't have any issues. Is the wire that goes, it's the red wire that goes up through your tube to your ignition switch. And that is what sends power up to your ignition switch. And back in here somewheres is the other end of that wire. And it also has this big black thing on here, is there's a fuse in there. So if your machine doesn't want to start, first check the fuse and then start backtracking other issues that it could be. And we'll plug this in. And that completes all of the wiring and all of the safety switches. And let's see. Let's flip this on. You can see my headlights working. And if I hit the key, it wants to start, but that battery is shot. I have to buy a new one. And I'll probably pick that up this week. And then I'll go in probably a little bit more detail on batteries and how to take care of them, which ones to leave in your machine when you stand them up like this, and which ones you have to take out. So we got all this done. The only thing left is the gas tank and bracket. Last week was so busy, I'll have to apologize. I wanted to put this video on like Monday, but it was just too hectic, too much to do. Family came over for Christmas, and by the way, I hope all of you had a Merry Christmas and good times with family and friends, and I hope you have a healthy new year. Because if we have our health, we have everything we need. The bracket I took to work, it was rusty. I didn't notice it when I painted everything else. I sandblasted it and I set it off to the side. And I forgot all about it until I looked for it today and I remembered it's at work. So that I'll be getting painted up this week. And we'll put on a new gas line, fuel filter, shut off, and I'll be going over these covers that go on both sides, one on the battery side, one on the wiring side, and at that point I'll explain why I tapped all these holes instead of, where did I do with that thing? Using these little they're around here someplace. These little things here that the company uses, it's kind of like what they use on bodies for holding panels on cars and trucks. It's a one-time shot you shove in, and they'd put them through from the inside, and you will put your cover on there, and when it comes time to take it off, good luck pulling it off, especially without wrecking these so you could reuse them. I get rid of them and I do something a little different, and I'll show you that. We get the gas tank and covers on, and this thing will be ready to stand up next to this one and sit for the winter. So until next time, please subscribe. It is totally free. I've had a lot of people ask me that. There is no charge to subscribe. If you want to be notified every time I put a video on, after you subscribe, touch the little notification bell. That way you'll be notified through an email that I put on another video. If you don't want to be bothered every week, don't push the little bell. Just pop in once in a while and see what's new. So please subscribe, hit the thumbs up, share a video with someone, and until next time, work safe, have fun, and keep on snapping. We'll talk to you soon. So long.